Contrary to what anyone may believe, making $100,000 or more a year is definitely still good money. Now, I know a lot of people have stated how much the inflation in modern society today, in our economy today, is far too great for someone to thrive off $100,000. But I would say, given that I've made $100,000 multiple times over the few years, it is still a significant amount of money. And what is more significant is financial literacy. Now, a lot of people may not agree with this, but we're going to go down memory lane, and I'm going to give you what I think and what I've went through in my experience and experiments when it comes to money and making over six figures. And this is me before I had a family and now having a family. So first off, I want to talk about financial literacy and understanding the effective skill sets that's needed to build a financial budget where you can either save, pay up, pay down debt, or actually invest your capital while you are actually earning money through whatever income streams that you have. In an increasingly complex financial landscape, it is important for someone to understand how much they are making and how much they are spending. So I oftentimes bring up the example of someone that's making $50,000. Most people, before they even receive their paycheck, they have already thought about the things that they want to spend their money on, the material, where they want to go, travel, vacation, or it can be even a party at their home where they want to buy a certain amount of alcohol, or they want to invite a certain amount of people. We think about these things before we even receive our paycheck. And I always bring up, when you're sitting at work and you hate where you're at, you hate your environment, you hate your coworkers, you express how frustrating you are on a day-to-day basis when you are going to work. These are the things that you have to actually take into consideration before you start to think about how you're going to spend your funds, the capital that you have not yet received, but you are already sitting down impulsively thinking about the things that you want to spend your money on, because this will put you in a position where you are disciplined, where you don't want to spend your money, and this is basically you budgeting. This is a part of having that complex financial landscape, being aware of what it is that's going on, being aware of where your money is going, because you know and you are aware of how impulsive you can be to spend that money mentally before you even have the money physically. The ability to create and stick to a financial budget is imperative. It's also fundamental. They say reading is fundamental, awareness is fundamental, discipline is fundamental. It's something that you can repeatedly do over and over, and you don't necessarily have to get better at it. You just make sure you repeat it. So when the money comes in, you keep it. You pay your essentials, you keep the rest. This is going to take some time to get used to, but it will be a consistent effort to not involve yourself into unnecessary pleasures. Yes, we are all human, although I am with the fact that people can go out and have a good time, spend time with your family, maybe buy a few things here and there. I'm the person that believes if you're working in a lot of hours because you want to make a lot of money, you can then reward yourself every so often by buying something that you always wanted. Spending money here and there, buying maybe your mother a gift, your father a gift, your wife, your children, whatever, etc., or even yourself, every now and then to kind of balance that onslaught of continuing to work and grind out those hours. A lot of people talk about work-life balance. I don't necessarily believe in work-life balance. I'm the type of person, if I have a goal, if I have something that I need to get done, I'm so ambitious that I will put effort day to day. I will put consistent effort. I will allocate everything that I have. I devote my time and energy to getting to that specific goal. But while doing so, I will remind myself that I can give myself something. But in my personal situation, I will give like my wife, my children gifts. I would bring home gifts. My daughters will go crazy if I give them toys or something that they never had. You know, they tell me they love me, give me hugs and kisses, and that right there drives me to continue to put out extreme effort to what it is that I want to do and achieve in my life, because nobody's going to do it for me. I don't expect anybody to come and save me. I don't expect anybody to come and help me whatsoever. Although I'm not against someone actually helping me. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I emphasize doing it on my own. I emphasize independency. I emphasize doing something by myself. I emphasize waking up and doing the work. And if and when someone comes to help me, of course, I will accept it. I will have open arms to whoever this person is, no matter who they are, gender, race, no matter what language they speak. If they're there to help me, I will definitely accept that help, and I will perceive it as love and kindness, and I will reciprocate the same love and kindness to that specific individual. But I'm always the person that's fundamental. Budgeting, investing, saving, debt management. You have to put these things at the forefront when it comes to financial literacy, because you can make all the money in the world. If you haven't practiced these fundamentals, you'll lose the money. It's how people hit the lottery and then they go broke. It's no different from somebody saying they don't make enough money, but they make $60,000 a year. But when they look at their numbers, when they look at their debt, when they look at their living, their lifestyle, the way they're living, their cost of living, it doesn't make sense. You make $60,000 a year, but you're living in somewhere where you got to pay $3,000 to $4,000 in rent. You have a $1,200 car note. I mean, at some point you have to downsize. But this is my mindset. So what I was doing, obviously you guys know, if you don't know, go check out some of my videos. I would work as many hours as I can every day. I would go 7 days a week, 16 hours if I could. And every now and then I will take a day or two off. But the other 5 or 6 days, I was still putting in 16 hours. You understand what I'm saying? This allowed me to amass over $130,000 the first time I crossed 6 figures. Then after that, I went 160, and then the most I ever made in that, basically just working 2 jobs, was three income streams, but 2 jobs and a side hustle, $170,000 a year. You guys not gonna believe me, but I have the numbers, I have the stats. You can go check out these videos. I put the link at the top. At the end of the day, I had jobs that allowed me to make $6,000 that I only worked at night. I had jobs that allowed me to make $3,000 to $4,000 that I worked during the day. And I had jobs on the week, I had side hustles on the weekends that allowed me to make $1,000 to $2,000 per week. And I did all 3 at the same time. This is the time where I was working 7 days non-stop. And here's the thing. I act as if I was poor. The only thing that me and my wife did that was great was we ate whole foods, great foods. Obviously, she still did her hair. She did her own hair. She did her own nails. She didn't wear makeup a lot. I didn't even cut my hair sometimes, but oftentimes that was the only thing I did was get a haircut. Other than that, I wore the same clothes. We had the same cars, a Honda Civic 2015, a Nissan Versa 2015. We didn't care. People oftentimes bragged about how their car was better than mine. I had a coworker at the time. He was simply going around telling everybody, hey, look, you know, Linville's 6'4", he's 200 some pounds, he's a big guy, he drives a Nissan Versa. This gentleman had a brand new Toyota or something like that. He had one of the newer models. But when you looked at the numbers, when you looked at the money, because they talk so much, I wasn't doing a lot. I don't talk about my finances. I only bring it up to my community, to YouTube, because I understand how someone can relate, and I understand how someone can take my experiences and my stories, and then it can inspire them, and they can take what they take from this, whatever is valuable, and utilize it in their day-to-day life. But because he talks so much, his business got out, his financial situation. Mine still haven't gotten out, although I think he follows me on YouTube now. It doesn't matter. I do what I want for my YouTube channel. But he talked about how he was going broke and how he was struggling financially. And the guys that he would talk to this about, they will all go around and talk about him. You know, I always say, if they talk about people when they're not around to you, imagine what they say about you when you're not around to other people. So you got to be careful with that. But anyway, sometimes you have to act poor. You make $100,000, yes, it is enough money. But if you're moving like you're making $100,000, it's not going to seem like you have a lot of money. You have to earn the right to live as if you're making $100,000. To live as if you're making $100,000, you actually have to make more. So when you make $100,000, you have to force yourself to try to live on as lowest amount as possible. So I would say 20 to 30,000. If you can't do that, maybe 40. But don't go half. As a matter of fact, maybe half should be the cap. But if you want to live $100,000 a year lifestyle, you have to make over $200,000. So you're always living below your means. So here comes the ordeal. After you save and invest, you do some financial planning, you do your budgeting, you make sure your credit is on point, you make sure you're not swimming in debt, you make sure you're investing, which is all fundamental in education, of something you have to practice, and you can do the work. We'll talk about that on future videos, but you always want to seek information everywhere, not just on YouTube, not just people who can give you valuable information. You want to buy assets, not liabilities. After that, what you want to do? We talk about working 80 hours a week. It's not for you to stay there. It's for you to then go on and build businesses. It's for you to then go on and take risks, make jobs, create jobs for people, become a boss, but you have to earn the right. So that's how you're going to get to that 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 per year lifestyle. And then you can do what? Live below your means, but you're still living 100,000 a year, 150,000 a year, because you're making 300, 400, 500, $500,000, $1 million a year. Now living below your means, you're looking like someone who lives $250,000 or even $100,000, but you're not going broke doing so. You're not going broke to look rich. You actually look like you got money, and you have a lot more money than you actually looked as if you have. This is the importance of living below your means. This is the importance of acting poor. But $100,000 a year absolutely is still enough money. It's people that are making do with $50,000. They put their ego aside. They're humble enough to position themselves so that they don't need to spend all the money that they earn from working their jobs, which, let me remind you, you hate, they hate, a lot of people hate. They're frustrated going into work. But why create more frustration by continuing to spend money you don't have, or spend the money before you actually physically have the money? You're mentally spending, you're impulsively buying online with your mind before you actually even have the money physically. And even when you have the money physically, you have not budget, you're not using fundamental skills, complex financial landscape, you're not using any of these skill sets to put these into mutual funds, investing, buying assets, saving, paying off debt. You're not focused on that. So in the long run, no matter how much money you make, you're gonna always have the habits of what? Living right at your means, or even above your means, so you'll always be in a position where you're going broke. Stop listening to broke people. Stop listening to people who tell you money is not important. They don't know what they're talking about. They can't show you results. How many people you guys know can show you $30,000 cash? How many people right now can show you $2,000 cash and actually are debt free? How many people you know right now can show you a 700, 750, 800 credit score? It's not a lot of people. These are the people who you want to take financial advice from. And I'm not a financial advisor, but we do talk about money on my channel. We talk about everything on my channel, as you know. We don't hold back over here because life is everything. A lot of people get on here and they just talk about working out, which is cool. I'm not knocking people that have a niche, but my niche is me. Linval Williams is a niche. We talk about everything. We're going to talk about finance, health, wealth, politics, social norms, society, relationships. We're going to talk about everything. I'm going to talk about parenting on my channel. You understand what I'm saying? Because why? I have children. We're going to talk about women. Why? Because I'm a married man who once was in that field walking around trying to get everything that he wanted, but he didn't need. So as far as $100,000 a year goes, yes. However much money you make per year, you need to live below your means. So absolutely, $100,000 is a lot of money. A lot of people just don't have financial literacy, and when you tell them that, they want a rebuttal. Your rebuttals don't do anything. The action, words don't mean anything. It's all action. You have to get to work, but getting to work is not just clocking in and out of your 9 to 5. Getting to work is when you earn that money and you have that check and you have it in your bank account, you have that capital, you have those funds. You understand what you need to do with those funds. You understand how you need to allocate those funds, and you're well educated. You have financial literacy that will put you in a position where you're not always struggling, and you don't have to work for someone for the rest of your life because you've taken the risk, because you built the savings, you put yourself in a position where you're debt free, you understand money, you learn from people who are doing better than you are inspired from people who do better than you. You're not a hater, you're not a loser, you're not a peasant, and you take all the information that you have and you put it together and you take the risk that makes sense for your life, not what someone else tells you, even though they're giving you advice, not what somebody else tells you, what's beneficial for your life.